Hi, I'm Darren Miles with Darren Miles Photography here in beautiful sunny Naples, Florida. A 50mm lens, or a normal prime, is one of those lenses a pro photographer simply can't live without. Complete with a fast f1.4 or wider aperture, the lens offers a lot of versatility in low light situations. It's great for events and great for weddings. Given its versatility, the 50mm is at the core of any photographer's lens stable. Because the 50mm lens is so popular, there is no shortage of choice in the 50mm category either. Canon alone has 4 options of 50mm, from the cheap, plasticky and buzzy f1.8, and by the way, that lens has great optics, all the way up to the pro level and amazing f1.2. Zeiss has 2 50mm options, which are both excellent optically, but they're also both manual focus. And Sigma has 2 options as well, the f2.8 macro and the f1.4. Today we're going to take a look at the Sigma 50mm f1.4 lens to see how this third-party manufacturer's offering holds up against some pretty stiff competition. Let's start with build quality. This is Sigma's newer finish. It has a matte finish now. They used to have this, for lack of a better term, like this crinkly paint finish. Now it's smooth and it looks a whole lot better. And the new finish makes the Sigma lens look a lot more professional as well. The focus ring is smooth, but it's really not that well dampened, and it's a short throw or turn from the minimum focus distance all the way to infinity. The lens is made of a nice grade of plastic, and it comes with a lens hood. Yes, this is very different from Canon, who, unless you're buying an L-grade lens, does not include a lens hood. The lens hood itself is of decent build, and even though the lens is short and stubby, it's pretty weighty. It comes in at just over 1.1 pounds. But given all that glass to make it f1.4, I guess that's to be expected. It's important to note that the lens is not weather sealed, but at only $499, that's really not that unusual. Lastly, the lens takes 77mm filters. The bottom line is, this is a very solid effort from Sigma, and for build quality, we're going to give it a 9 out of 10. Next up is focus speed and accuracy. The Sigma is fast, but it's not always accurate. If you've been around a while, you're going to hear stories about the focus accuracy of third-party manufacturers' lenses, specifically Sigma. I've owned several Sigma lenses, and one of them gave me headaches, and it took Sigma 3 attempts to finally get it right. And when they did get it right, the lens was great. I also had the latest 70 to 200mm, the OS version, for about 2 years. And it was hands down my go-to lens. It focused perfectly. And then lastly, I had, or I should say I still have, this 50mm from Sigma, which is a bit hit and miss in the focus department. The lens also tends to hunt and jackhammer quite a bit. But let me also add that when the lens does focus correctly, the results are just gorgeous, which is probably the reason why I keep it around. Also, the focus tends to be a bit more accurate at narrower apertures, like at f2.0 and narrower. Anyway, because the focus is so unpredictable, I can only give the Sigma a 6 out of 10 for focus speed and accuracy. Okay, up next is optical quality and the quality of the results. Let me just say that the Sigma reminds me a bit of a cheesy 80s love song. What could have been? I absolutely love the results of this lens when it hits focus. I also find that my hit rate increases exponentially when I set the aperture to f2.0 and narrower. But you buy a lens like this for its f1.4, and frankly, at f1.4, even when the focus is accurate, the results are a bit too soft for my liking. That said, it's one thing to tell you about the optical quality of the lens. It's probably better if I just show you. The next minute or so are going to be videos and stills taken with this lens, and you'll note with the stills, the aperture setting will appear at the bottom of the photo. Up next is value. At $499 US, it's not the cheapest, nor is it the best, but I wouldn't call it a bad value either. There are pros out there that'll swear by this lens. Some have even told me that they like theirs better than the Canon 50mm f1.2L. And therein lies the rub of third-party lenses. You have to get a good one. I revert back to Sigma in particular, who's had a history of inconsistently focusing lenses. However, over the last year, Sigma has launched their Global Vision Initiative, and their quality control has been radically improved. To wit, their latest lenses have received rave reviews. I personally can't wait to try the 35mm and the 120-300. Anyway, back to the 50mm. I can live with f2 mainly because of the 5D3's high ISO capabilities. And at f1.4, I find that I end up converting a lot of the shots to black and white because they're not that sharp. But the bottom line here is, for value, the Sigma only gets a 7 out of 10, unless you get one of those that are allegedly as good as the Canon f1.2. Then you're going to think that the Sigma is a great value. But I'm basing my score on the lens that I have. Okay, it's time to get to the bottom line and draw some conclusions about the Sigma 50mm f1.4. In a nutshell, the build quality. As we discussed, it's built really well. It's weighty, the focus ring is smooth, and it's a nice grade of plastic, but it's not weather sealed. Sigma includes a nice case and a lens hood. It's a solid effort. We gave the build quality a 9 out of 10. Focus speed and accuracy. Your results may vary, but this particular lens has a hard time focusing accurately, especially at its widest aperture of f1.4. This is a well-documented issue with Sigma lenses, but mine is accurate enough. To Sigma's credit, the HSM motor is really fast and near silent. As I mentioned before, when it hits, it makes beautiful images. But it's the focus inconsistency that really holds this lens back. We gave the focus speed and accuracy a 6 out of 10. Optical quality and the quality of the results. I'll sum it up this way. When it focuses accurately and at slightly narrower apertures like f2, I tend to like this lens a lot more. At its widest aperture of f1.4, it's just a bit too soft for me, even when the focus is accurate. At f1.24, it's just too inconsistent to recommend. At f2, it's a great lens. So in that sense, the optical quality is a bit of a mixed bag. We gave it both a 7 out of 10 for optical quality and the quality of the results. By the way, as a side note, the lens tends to perform a lot better on a crop body like a 7D or the Rebel series. Value. There are more economical alternatives out there, but they all usually lack something. Maybe a lower quality build or a buzzy and slow focus motor. None of these lenses are stellar performers at their widest apertures. Canon's direct competitor, the 50mm f1.4, based on my own experience, was downright dreamy and soft at f1.4, softer than even the Sigma. The PhotoZone analysis seems to verify my experience. Now, if you get a good one, you may view this score differently. For me, I give the Sigma a 7 out of 10 for value. Overall, we gave the Sigma a 36 out of 50, and it barely crosses our recommended threshold minimum of 35. The final word. Your mileage may vary, but if you take a chance on a third-party lens, you may very well end up with something special. My experience with this particular lens, this particular Sigma 50mm, has been a bit frustrating, but I keep it because when everything works right or works correctly, I absolutely love the results. I just wish that happened a little bit more often. I'm Darren Miles with Darren Miles Photography here in beautiful, sunny Naples, Florida. Thank you so much for watching, and until the next time, happy shooting.